Check. Welcome in, everybody. How are we doing this evening? Hope everybody's weekend was good. Sabrina, yeah, we'll definitely take a look at Spine QQQ. I always start the class with that and end with it if we have time for that. But yeah, we'll definitely take a look at some levels to be watching for sure. JJ, how are you? Good to have you in here. Meta, all right. Let's get it on the list. I think actually you guys are good at reading my mind. I think that was the one that, yep, we'll go over that. I kind of know what I want to go over and say on that one already. So All right, one last annoying premium ping to the server, and then we'll dive in, guys. I appreciate you guys getting here on time. All right, let's get started. We'll let the stragglers trickle in as usual, but welcome to another Sunday scan, you guys. The last one of March. It is April this week, so man, time is flying. But again, glad to have you guys here. One thing to take note of, we talked about this 2 weeks ago, or possibly last week as well. Basically, they just call it the correction zone. And it's a correction 10% from all-time highs, which is down here on SPY, down this 552 area. And as we trickle into that or possibly sell into that this week, it's just something to keep mind of. 2 weeks ago, how we talked about that and how hard we bounced there. You can see the bottom wicks of those candles reaction, the big bounces to get us out of that quote unquote bear market territory zone. And so that is the first thing I wanted on a simpler chart. I wanted to show you guys just some things to keep mind of, to maybe not have too much upside or downside bias, but more of just levels. Play the chart as we see them and kind of go with it how things play out. So again, that is just kind of a top and bottom with a couple lines on our chart there. If I go to the daily or my default levels, there's going to be a lot here, but hang with me. Just some zones here I want us to watch. Again, definitely into that 552 zone. We can see when we zoom left and look left, how price action, when we get around that zone there, how I expect to see price action. So as we zoom into the 1 hour chart, I always feel like that's the best way to get you guys a ballpark, a game plan, so to speak. So for me, guys, I zoomed out a little bit. So what I'm watching early this week is, since we sold under 55563, to me that was kind of not last chance support, like I always say, but that was the most recent support. That when we sold this whole way down Friday, I said, hey, I want to see us at least hold this or defend this. We bounced the last couple hours of the day, and ultimately after hours sold through. And if this after hours candle holds pre-market, we're going to be well under that. So for me, any bounces, if we get them around these area, my top zone target for the week or first attempt target is back into this zone here. I just want to see, once we push back into that, if and when we do this week, our reaction there. How do we react to it? Do we get smacked down pretty hard and come back down, or we get back over and reclaim that? And so that's kind of my plan of action this week. Again, this is the upper, this is the lower extreme. You can kind of see on back a couple weeks ago how we sold down there and that reaction out of that zone there. Again, that bear market territory. And so that's kind of what I'm watching this week, you guys, on SPY. That was a hard sell. I kind of, I tried to buy the dip on a couple of these and it just didn't work out for me on Friday. And so obviously, big picture hindsight, should have just shorted the bounces all day and it paid. But again, I was trying to get that reaction there out of that zone there. So does anybody have any questions on SPY? Again, if we come to this 55144, I want to see, do we hold this? Do we bounce out of that zone there? If we zoom, we can see, again, a zoomed in look here. If I can go back far enough. Yeah, so that reaction and that, 55144, the reaction around there. We get under that, that triggers the sell. We get back over it, it usually triggers a multi-day, rally off of that. So that's my plan on SPY. QQQ will be next unless someone has questions on this. But again, QQQ is a little bit more kind of cut and dry of what I want to see. As I zoom in here, Sabrina also mentioned bearish. So definitely ugly kill candle on Friday for sure. But as we trickle into this 46863, 467 zone, we can kind of see how March 10th, 11th, 12th, how we sold into that. And we bounced every time. So a zoomed in look here, you know, sell into it, daily candle close over, sell into it, bounce. Didn't get there the next day, sell into it again, bounce again. So there, Sabrina and other people watching, there's buyers here. And so what I would like to do, you guys, or what I usually do just for teaching purposes, is I would just do something like this, and just for a visual representation. Like, to me, this is support zone. So I am not bearish personally until one of two things. So we either bounce out of this low zone here. I'm on the daily. I'll zoom into a smaller time frame in a second. So if we bounce out of this and we retrace back up to here, like I always say, short the bounce, break down, retest. That's where we'll get puts, or a breakdown of kind of this zone here. But again, we always say don't buy puts at support. This is a perfect example of, yeah, you can buy puts here. We may sell through and you may get paid, but it's very, very risky when we see 1, 2, 3 days, just 2 weeks ago, buyers are still there. They're parking that level there and they're holding that level there. So for me, I need to see a sell down intraday. And again, I'll go to an intraday chart. I want to see a breakdown under that, retest, then I'll get my puts, or somewhere in between here, which I'll go to that now. But from a daily perspective, I am, basically 469. I'm not buying puts to start a position. But again, a zoomed in look. So if this candle holds in the morning, kind of what I just talked about here. So we'll zoom out a little bit. So again, on the daily chart, that was that green zone, that support that I'm watching, or was one of you guys to watch. So again, to recap, any sells here, we sold through this support. So this is our support. Any bounces up here is where I'll take puts, or any bounces up to here, I'll take my puts. So meaning, if we bounce and hold this support, you write calls on the way up. And then here you either sell all your calls and you start to be thinking, hey, are we double topping around here? Are we stalling out? Maybe you can take your shot at some puts, or you wait all the way up to here. So, or down into this 463.18, again, sell through, retest, puts. And this is just an example, you guys. If you don't play the open, you don't play the opening 15-minute, 5-minute candle, whatever it is, and you catch this sell down, that's where you wait. Send alert here and look for puts. Or we start bouncing around here, get your calls for a bounce. For me, an upper range target on the day or this week is definitely 467. Sabrina, does that help you a little bit? And other people that are kind of watching, that want to watch QQQ or like to trade Qs, what they're eyeing. But again, that's a big deal if we indeed sold through this, we hold under. So that's pretty darn bearish for sure, because that was the level of hold 2 weeks ago, bounced 3 times in a row, and now that's basically buyers saying, hey, we give up for now. Bears are control, sellers, whatever you want to call them, they're in full control until then. So again, you guys, that was SPY and QQQ. We have sold under the daily 9 and the 20. They're way up here as of now. So let's just see where we end up. But again, I'll do a recap on this at the end of class. But let's get to you guys' requests, because that's why you guys are here. First up is Meta. That was our first request. And JJ, show you something here in the daily, what I was eyeing. I'm super glad that you wanted this requested. So this yellow dashed line, this slow moving line, is the daily 200 moving average. So generally speaking, in stock market terms, you guys may be newer, if a stock is trading under this or recently sells under that, that is a big bearish trigger. There's a big bearish sentiment, because it's the slowest moving average that traders we like to use. And so this JJ, this week I would definitely watch any action at or around this daily 200 moving average. So I'm going to combine that with you in a second, or for you in a second, on this support level here, and build a game plan on it. But as we trade around that, let me find a really quick example, SPY. If I can do this real quick without being, so last week, I think it was early last week, Roommates are home and they've been drinking. I'm sorry, guys. One day I'll be able to live on my own. All right, daily 200, you guys, as I was saying, you can see when we trade at around that 200 moving average there, how, they kind of battle out back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And we finally sell it. That's a sell-off trigger to the downside on SPY. Okay, so back to Meta. Same thing here, JJ. I want to see this reaction. As of now, we sold through that. So it's a very bearish signal. We sold through that 570 level. Bearish signal as well. Okay. Yeah, I see your requests in the chat, you guys. We're doing them in order. So JJ, I would definitely, if we're under 570 and we're under this 200, yeah, very bearish for sure. But any claims up to it. So for now, your first plan of action is, we're opening here probably up to this 570. That's your first shot of, I always say, your lowest risk, highest reward. That's where you take puts at 570 for sure. Any rejections on that? Boom, take them down that candle, take them down there, 563.16, and then we can take it from there. But yeah, that daily 200 just sold. That's pretty damn bearish. Let me zoom out a little bit, kind of see, give another example around this 570 to look at that price action there. One second. All right, so this 570 level here. Let's see if I can find an example. There we go. Okay, so this, you guys, just for learning and teaching tool. So see how we sold. This is past price action under, this is November 15th. So you can see when we sell through this support here, you guys, as I was telling you guys, when we're in calls, we want a breakout retest. We're in puts, we want a breakdown retest for your puts. So this is a sell through, trickle down to the next support and bounce. And what do we do a couple days later here in November? We push up and retest that 570 and boom, smack down. That's where you take your puts. Low risk, high reward zone down here. So does that make sense to everybody? So when we go back to that 570, that's kind of the game plan that I was kind of telling JJ and for other people watching is get that sell down into there. Don't, for me, you can either you play at the open, you chase it to the next leg down, or you take your call bounce if you just want to be bearish. Take your shots at 570. All right, next one. Just check the chat. All right, Bailey wants Apple. Let's do it. Apple on the daily. Let's see where we're at. That's going to be the theme of tonight, is the daily, just to kind of see whenever we get a hard sell or a hard bounce, I'm always like, okay, where do they sell it to? Did they stop where they stopped to? One more time on that explanation. The iPhone, you mean the breakdown retest? Let me know in the chat. That's what you mean. But yeah, that's kind of my bread and butter. So I'll be talking about that all night. If especially if you're new, it'll be the theme of the night and every week for sure. Yep, definitely iPhone. Let's see. Okay, Bailey. So we closed where we did close. Excuse me, stumbling over my words. It makes sense where we kind of stopped out. We stopped out at a support, so that makes sense. So if we zoom left here, kind of figure out, does this level matter? Absolutely. We sell into it. We can see the battle back and forth, top side wick, bottom side wick. No real winners here. Okay. Sold back into it. They held it. Sold into the next day, bounce, earnings sell through. And then we can see the reaction again around this 217.83 zone over and over and over. And so again, I always say, guys, zoom out on the daily chart. That is your first step to building a game plan. Don't just see, not saying Bailey's doing this, but don't just see a bad sell candle on Friday and go, okay, let's get bearish on it. Well, let's zoom out and see where we're at and see if it makes sense. So a sell through this level, yeah, we can get bearish for a leg down. But as of now, it sold and it stopped right at support. So for you guys that like to play Apple, that's going to be fairly easy for us to trade. So I'm now on the 1 hour chart, you guys. So 217.83 is what I was talking about there. And again, one thing I should add, this purple line here is the daily 9 moving average. So not an intraday EMA, this is a daily 9. So on the daily, this is the 9 moving average where it lines up. So this is going to open. We sold down, so it's going to bring it down. It might stack right around here. So yeah, bearish on Apple. All right. So any sells through this, Bailey, and a retest up, that is 10 times out of 10, I'm taking my short position try there. So you either ride your calls up and you can trim heavy. And if you're like, hey, we look pretty bullish on the day, you can hold one call. Or like I said, if we start pushing to the zone here, kind of double top action, opening range is set. Looks like we're stalling out and QQQs are pushing up a level. This is where you can take your shot on some puts for sure, because, this is an old support level and we sold through it. So it's now resistance. What else is this? Look left. That's right where we closed. So as traders, you guys, we trade breakout pre-market high and low, previous day high and low. So what do we have here? Previous day low. So absolutely you can take your short there on puts because your risk is small and your downside potentially, hypothetically, hopefully, is big. So again, if you take your puts here, like I always say week after week, you don't hold for a push up here somewhere and go, okay, now I'm going to cut. No, you hold for somewhere. For me, it'd be somewhere on these candle body wicks down here, so meaning if I take my put entry here, I'm willing to see a little bit of red in this zone. No one enters a trade and they're instantly green. Very, very rarely you're instantly green when you hit that buy button. So you got to be able to sit through a little bit of red and not panic. Never, for me, I don't play the percentage. I play my levels here. So maybe this is 13% red, 19%, 20, I don't know, but that's my stop out. And this is my downside target, potentially, for those puts. Does that make sense on Apple, you guys? Again, upper range, upper recent level, I would mark 221.86. I would definitely mark 217.83. And lower downside, there's some levels in between here, guys, but these are just the main ones I mark for you guys because I don't day trade Apple a whole lot. 211.33 is another one. Okay. Scrolling up on the chat so I don't miss anything. Yeah, Ty, there's supposedly someone that's smarter than me that it's more attuned to it. There's some tariff news April 2nd. I think someone correct me in the chat, or you can pop out on the mic if you want, but is that when the first round of tariffs, like they kind of not expire, but they're up for, I guess, they're going to reconsider them, I think is that's why April 2nd are so important. Someone pop on the mic if they're better informed on that. But I think it's the tariffs that are already going, and it's kind of Trump and the administration to say, hey, do we want to keep these on or pull them off or, reassess them kind of thing. So I think that's what's happening on April 2nd. So very, very big day for sure. Amazon. See where we're at again on the daily. And let me get on the 4 hour here, get a couple more lines for you guys, because like I said, some of these names, I don't trade them a lot. I just chart them with you guys and for you guys. Oh, definitely sold through there on the 4 hour. All right. Definitely, I think I'll extend this line because that could come into play this week. Let's go left a little bit, kind of see what we have under that 190.50. See if I want to get a couple lines in there for you guys. Just looking left to right here. All right, just trying to decide here. So got these top side wicks here, hits there, got those wicks there. Candle body closes there, candle body closes, 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 sells under. Okay, I like that level there. It's kind of a nice mid level there. Person requested Amazon. Are you in this already or just want some perspective? Let me see. Let's see. Amazon. They didn't say anything. So, all right. Amazon 4-hour. Again, if these after hours sells, let's see. I'm in calls April 11th, getting cooked. What strike you got on? You don't have to tell me how many, but what strike on April 11th? So you basically got 2 weeks to get out of this trade. Of course, it's a hindsight. There's a lot of bearish momentum working against you. But again, it's easy for me to say after the chart or after the move has already been made. But Amazon, you guys, if you don't have that 200 level marked on your charts, you should absolutely have that level. But some things to watch here on Amazon. Again, I know you're in calls, brother, but let's work through this. And if there is a chance for one average down, since obviously you're still holding, here's how I do that. So just some education on Amazon. The daily 200, or excuse me, the 200 level here, that is your first. That's that psychological number. 100, 150, 200, 300 on any stock. So 200 is a round number. Your daily 200 moving average is that yellow line there, is stacked right there as well. So double whammy on resistance overhead. But my main point is we opened pretty much at it or near it on Friday and we sold through it. So that is a huge bearish trigger for me on Amazon. And then we sold through the daily 20, we sold through the daily 9. So not to kick you when you're already down, a lot of bearish things happening, but why I was saying possibly average down because you already sold is this lower range here. So messy little drawing here. We can see just a few weeks ago we sold down here, boom, bounced, defended it. Didn't quite get there, sold down here, defended it. Didn't get here. So now, pre-market, if we get any sort of bounce at 190.49, so 190.50 basically, this is where it's a short dated contract. If you're not in super heavy, that is where I think it's the only place you can try and take an average down. And so if we open over this zone here, let me zoom in just a little bit for you. So any opens over this zone, and that is where, if you're getting beat up on a trade, you should have already sold, but again, you're already in it. So you like pain, or you want to hold to the pain, or you want to see if it's going to make a comeback. This is the only spot I would take an average. But if we bounce over this and you take an average and we sell back through it, like you got to cut, because you took calls, somewhere up here based on the setup, right? Or I'm assuming. And so you took a strike somewhere over here, but now we sold through this level. Now we're even farther from your level and even farther from your strike. So if you took, maybe on Thursday or somewhere on Friday, we sold through, and, calls don't make sense here. Well, they make even less sense down here as we sold through. So it's like you could have had a small loss on your calls and rolled puts all the way down. Again, I know it's in hindsight, but I'm just saying, this is the last chance to support that bottom range, that recent bottom range. But very bearish on Amazon when we give up 3 moving averages stacked right here and the 200 psychological level. Amazon's got some work to do before I see any bounces or want to swing any calls on that for sure. But hopefully that helps. If not, send me a DM. We can talk this week, try and get you out of that trade. But again, you guys this goes for everybody. Just have some risk management. I get it. Not everybody hits, a winning trade every time. Everybody's really good at charting, but if something's just selling, just, I don't know, just don't take these deep losses, because you may sit 80% red and then you get back up 13% green, you cheer and you go, oh, I'll sell for 13% green. That's horrible risk management, to sell through down here and sell up here and go, okay, because it's a huge relief when you get out of those calls, but you made profit on it, but it's just not good trading, you guys. All right, looking at the chat here. SoFi, haven't heard that name in a while. Let's see where we're at. Oops. Ooh, Big thick line. If you guys know my charting style, that means a big level is approaching 1135. Ooh. What do you think on SoFi? Let me know, because I think we talked, I think we talked about this, because I know we marked this level, or someone was in SoFi. I think SoFi leaps, but okay. So the daily, you guys, the daily closed here 1182-ish, but if we believe after hours and where we're going to open tomorrow, let's see. All right, just reading the chat, sorry. But the after hours looks like it's selling this 1135. So what do we have here, you guys? We have this huge support at 1135, consolidation breakout, consolidation bounces-ish zone breakout. So we're going to trickle back into here. And what do we have else stacked right here? Our daily 200. And every time we get to it and we're over it, buyers defend it with their life. Look down here, you guys, bottom left. Every time we get over the daily 200, we sell into it. Buyers defend it with their life. You know where I'm going with this already. Let's zoom in, because unless we sell under, I do not want puts on this play. If you're a believer in this company, this is your opportunity for a share buy-in. You buy at big support, and you're buying at the daily 200. Big level here on SoFi for sure, 1135. Any sells, before I get to some drawings here. Oh yeah, actually. So any sells under this and wherever this daily 200 kind of stacks up, that's big time bearish for SoFi as well, not to mention the back-to-back sellings. But any bounces and holds of this, I would look for what I call, a structure break. So sell, leg down, selling, leg down, sell, leg down, sell, leg down, sell, to support, hold, no follow through, hold, bounce. That could be a trend break. So, the trend is down, bouncing, 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 the daily 200 support. This is where, if you guys want to take, again, if you believe in the company and the market looks like it's okay, it's want to hold a little bit. Obviously, swings are risky in this administration, but this is where you do it. You buy time at support, a big support, and you buy, when I say swings, you guys, I don't mean something expires in 4 days. I'm saying, May, June, July, because these are cheap and these will pay very nice. But we start holding, consolidating here. I am definitely not a put buyer. Absolutely no way. I need a sell through, and I need daily closes under this level here. But 1135, again, big level in the chart there. And I like it. So I'm going to set an alert a little bit below it. Maybe we get below it. I don't know. Any bounces over. Let's see what we do on that, because yeah, any sort of momentum in the market, like this will be a nice trigger sell, or excuse me, trigger bounce if the markets look like they want to bounce. But again, got some news this week, as people said in the chat, April 2nd, the tariff stuff. So we shall see. It'll be fun to come back to these setups next week and say, hey, were we right? Or boom, they sold way down, we were wrong. So all right. This chat just, it's not very convenient. Viral join, say thank you. Crowd last Sunday took crowds. Nice, very nice. Viral, love to see it. All right, getting kind of Studio City, I see your comment on SPX levels. I will circle back to that at the end of class for sure. Tariffs. JJ, when the PA blows through a support or resistance, do you redraw the line or just leave them? I leave my charts, JJ. I don't know if there's a specific stock you were talking about or thinking about, but I don't delete my lines, you guys, because like I always say, or I have said before, this 1135, it's like, okay, we break over that here. That was last October. And just an example of JJ's comments, like, okay, we're over 1135. It's like, okay, I guess I'll just delete this, because we're over it. We're not coming back. Well, lo and behold, we came back and we bounced at that level again, and we're back at it again. And so hopefully I answered your question. I never delete lines. I may move them. So if if I had like an old level and something's coming back to it, I may add to or adjust it slightly, but I don't really delete stuff per se. The cool thing about Thinkorswim is down here we can have chart layers, and so it's kind of nice. So you've seen on my SPY. So when I'm in, if I'm in a day trade on SPY, this is my mode I'm in on the 5-minute because I want to find every target level that I'm looking for. When I'm looking for an entry point, I go to these levels as well, and I find the big levels. But I can knock it down to whatever chart layer I want on Thinkorswim, which is really really nice. If you guys are on Thinkorswim and don't use chart layers, you need to start getting on that for sure. All right. No way are we out of request. No one requested Tesla. Shoot. All right, give me a second. Let me look at some small port stuff, you guys. But if you guys are looking at other stuff, just let me know. I'm shocked that we're halfway through, no more request. Ooh, Citibank. All right, I like this one for sure. DraftKings Fitness in here? Nope, he was on that one. Just looking for some more charting ideas, you guys. I know you guys like the big tech names. Ooh, PLTR. You guys like this one, right? Look at this one. So this 82 to 83 pocket there. So on the daily, you guys, you can see how I know these lines are from you guys from requests. So again, breakout. Again, this is an earnings gap up. We sell down, we kind of battle out back and forth. We sell through it, we trigger over, or excuse me, under that 83 zone, leg down a little bit, we get back over, bounce, and we reclaim the daily 9 moving average. Man, look at this one on NVIDIA, or excuse me, sorry to see it in the chat. I can't do 2 things at once. PLTR. $82.71. Any break over that, if the markets look kind of sort of bullish, this would be a textbook. So you sell under a support, a breakout retest of this support here, kind of 82.71, 83.14, kind of low pocket there that I've had left on my charts from you guys. That is a bullish setup for me. It'd be a trend break, lower lows, and finally it held, and it could be on the road to a higher low. Or any sell under this, you guys. So as of now, if this candle, again, like I say, if this candle holds on PLTR, you guys, any sell under 82.71 and retest, so a breakdown retest, take your puts there for sure on PLTR. I like that setup a lot. NVIDIA. I think NVIDIA got its butt whooped, as did most of the market. But so NVIDIA, this big thick line here on the slower range here, kind of sold through it, bounced back over, sold through it, and we sold through it, but didn't sell through it very hard or very far, that is. And so that 110.23 would be a level to watch for sure. This is the daily, so we can kind of see how price action moves around that. And if I zoom in, how I would play this. So NVIDIA, any sells under recent support, you can short it. So a sell under, take your puts, but don't fight it. They break over, they want to push, because we have, some, we're kind of leg down, theme of the night. So if we kind of leg down somewhere around in here, but now we push back up and break over it, not a place I want to be holding puts. So look for the support here, or definitely set a level here at this 110.23, because again, you guys, when I talk about a breakdown retest over and over on the charts, this right here, see if I can get fancy and do this. Yeah, so something like that. So a literally A breakdown, this is Friday, so a breakdown through support, a retest, and you get your puts there, and look at puts pay. A retest, get your puts pay. A retest, and you may have got stopped out. Ultimately, at the end of the day, puts paid again. So again, you always buy your puts at resistance and your calls at support. So any break over, treat this as support until it's not. Any sell under, it's resistance again. And you short it, and you just, the same thing. Like, don't be like, if you take puts on an uptrend or a push up, it has to make sense. So the reason you're taking puts here is because you're looking for or hopeful that this leg down continues right around here. You take your puts, we leg down into this zone here. So you just ride this wave down. So right now, the momentum is clearly down. We broke a big support here. But again, even though we break support, you should always be on the lookout, no matter, whatever play you're in. When you're on the downside, you better have downside targets already ready. You don't take your puts here. We sell into the next big support and you haven't sold in yet, and you go to your meeting and we bounce, you lose like 50% of your gain. Like that's bad trading. Bad trading. Ravs, hope I'm saying your name right. Says I'm new here. Are these levels automatically marked? No, these are levels for me that I marked. So if you're interested in this name or whatever we've gone through tonight, best thing to do is literally you can just take a screenshot of this chart right here, and these are some levels that get you started for sure. I mean, that is literally the whole point of tonight's or the Sunday class, you guys. If you're like, hey, I play Apple a little bit, I'm not sure about this zone here, can you take a look at it? And that's literally why me or River, whoever it is, takes a look at this. Like these Sunday scans are exactly for you guys. Like that's what they're here for. So if you need help with the level, that's why we're doing it. So take a screenshot or take note of the levels I'm calling out, like I said, PLTR, because that's why we're doing it, you guys, to give you guys education. And it just saves you a step of charting. Obviously, you should chart on your own, because I tell you what, when you can chart something on your own, take your own play, it's a good feeling. Citibank sold through this one pretty hard. Viral, I see your request. Give me one sec. Citibank, one to note, banking sector. Sold through this huge 71.19. This is going to be my focus this week. This is one of them that'll probably be in the watch list. Again, gap down candle again. If that holds tomorrow pre-market, we shall see. But any trickles or weak bounces into this level here, you guys, I'm short at 71.19, 71.20 basically until they prove that they can get back over that, because my daily moving averages are going to be stacked overhead as well. And that's kind of my bread and butter. If I see a resistance overhead and a moving average is stacked against it, that's two forms of resistance right there stacked. So that's a double whammy for buyers to try and get over. So definitely one to watch. Again, the ticker is literally just the letter C. It's Citibank. Definitely one to watch for sure. HIMS, let's take a look. Look like 24 soon. Let's see here. Ooh. Yeah, definitely. You seen this viral? Definitely a zone to watch. I would say, first plan of attack, that 26.67, because it is obviously coming up first. And we can kind of see when we trade around that, kind of like, again, like I always kind of say, you guys, like when you see a level that doesn't really break out and see consolidation, you'd say, okay, why are we consolidating here? And so this is clear as day, consolidation zone in here. So in between here, for swings, this is no man's land for me. So like if the price is like right here on a particular day, like I don't like really swinging puts or calls, because we're kind of 50-50. So if we bounce, for me, if I'm in puts, I got to hold through that pain to see if we reject there. Or if I'm in calls and we sell down a little bit, it's like if I have time, I got to be able to sit through this pain here. So for me, I'd rather take my shots at the extremes, the upper and lower extremes. But this is a straight up consolidation zone in between here. So Viral's asking about this. So my first plan would be on this one, man. I would definitely be watching Sterling mode as we trickle into that 27. Let's see. After hours, we're at 20. Is that right? 27.52. Yeah, we're coming right into that. Yeah, 27.5 basically. So again, on the daily, you guys probably already know where I'm going with this. Is big support here. And what do we have creeping up? Just taking its sweet time. Lo and behold, the daily 200. And again, when we get around that yellow line, oh, anytime we're around that yellow line, big moves happen over and under on that daily 200 line there. So again, let's kind of see how it reacts there. But my first plan would definitely be that 26.67 support for sure. Any sells under that, and again, to be bullish, we just gave up a huge moving average. We sold through it. I think if we sell through that triggers this sell. I don't know if it comes in a day or a week, but definitely that 24.11 pocket that you're kind of eyeing. So definitely, again, if you want to try and play the call bounce here, that's your shot, first attempt. But again, we got to see, are we gonna hold that zone there? So I'm not saying buy that, hold for that, but you got to be able to stomach a little bit of red, or if you're taking some shares, if you like this company, you guys, you can buy a little bit here, dollar cost average in here, buy a little bit here, but to sell through that, then that's basically giving up all the price action from basically last October. So October, knocking on the door, 24, can't get over, breakout, sell through, can't get over, finally get over, and then they didn't look back once they broke that 24. So big level there to watch for sure on HIMS, HIMS on that chart. Yep, I'm just reading the comments here. Yeah, Viral, if you ever need help with covered call stuff, Tilio's really good at it. River's good. FaZe is pretty good at it too. I know Zorro, I think he does covered calls on stuff too. There's a few people in here that do it quietly as well. So I don't personally do it, but definitely something to watch for sure. Let's see. HIMS, I don't know if it was like a Wall Street bet thing, JJ. I know it caught momentum. I mean, obviously, if they push and they have these huge days, like this, but I don't know if it was a meme stock or if it got short squeezed or what. But definitely had a breakout. Man, to be able to see this, can obviously it's in hindsight, but I mean, I have this trend line here. Someone was looking at it last September, but to be able to catch that breakout, and I guess obviously hypothetically to catch 165% move, like, damn, that'd be awesome. But again, what goes up usually comes down. Doesn't mean it's going to come down all the way, but this is a full retracement from basically January. January's right here. So big push and big retracement. But again, pretty much everything's getting kicked to the market right now. So Kevin, is it a good idea to start buying long dated calls on NVIDIA from these lows 9 to 12 months out? So kind of a tricky question. I don't want to say ignore news. I'm definitely not saying that. But if we didn't have this tariff stuff, like from a chart perspective, yeah, you definitely nibble down here in this zone here. We can see, this low range here. Like I tell people, the chart, we may be selling maybe ugly, but if this was a car or a TV, it's like, do you want to buy a TV at 140 bucks or do you want to buy a TV next door on sale for 110 bucks? Generally speaking, that it's a good company. NVIDIA is a great company, as we know. And so, yeah, I mean, yeah, you can nibble in some calls, but I definitely, again, on long swings, you guys, my comment is always never start a full position. So Kevin, if you're buying NVIDIA 9 to 12 months out, you probably have, a larger portfolio. So let's just say, your position size on NVIDIA, not not your port size, but just, you know, you want to get NVIDIA and your position size, let's just say $3,000. So for me, I would either do thirds or a half. So I would look at this support here. If we bounce 110.23, again, this hypothetical, I would take a, you know, a starter position entry here. Okay. And you're saying 9 to 12 months out. Okay. You want to buy time for safety. You're not going to be right today or tomorrow. So then you got to decide, okay, I have a partial entry here. You know, how much pain do I want to sit through, or do I take an average here? Does it make sense to, you know, that's why I kind of said it kind of depends, because we have so much news that this administration is, you know, if we weren't dealing with tariff stuff and this was just like a pullback on maybe some inflation data, like I would absolutely say take your shot here at support, because we buy calls at support. But it is so hard to just go, oh, this chart looks good, like it's going to bounce here, bounce previous, you know, and then boom, one tweet or one news headline runs it, and it's like, well, I have 9 months of time. You know, you have to decide how much pain you want to hold through to see if we bounce here or do we bounce here. So it's a tough question. It's tough. This is a tough market to swing. You know, I've caught a couple swings, and you know, you feel like you're on your high horse, and the next swing you take 2 days later, you get totally smoked. You're like, well, maybe I shouldn't be swinging. So it's a tough market to swing right now. My best suggestion is buy as much time as you can afford. Don't put, you know, if you have a $5,000 port, you know, you should not be buying $4,000 worth of NVIDIA, because then you have NVIDIA tied up for, you know, 9 months out, way out here, and you only have $1,000 buying power, and you can't do much that day to day. And so position size it correctly. You know, maybe 1 to 3% of your portfolio on some NVIDIA calls in it. And then the last part is, you know, it's got to be a strike that makes sense. So, you know, 12 months out is essentially, or it is a leap. So next March, or, you know, even next January. So for me, I'm not going to buy a January 200 call. You know, that's just that's $70 away. I'm going to buy something that makes sense. And if I can't afford it, you either buy less time or you just skip the setup altogether. So a lesson for you guys, there's a lot of people that just, they trade stuff because it was alerted, and it's way, you know, they're way over leveraged on their portfolio size, and they just, you know, you should just skip the trade. If you can't afford a Tesla or all this SPX that's getting alerted in our tab now, you know, like SPX day trades for $800, like that's crazy. If you have $1,000 portfolio, you should not be taking that SPX for $800. So generally speaking, your entry should be 5% of your portfolio. So you do the math. If you see an $800 alert, you know what your port size should be, or if not, get that calculator out. But that's NVIDIA. Let's see. Checking the chat here. All right, I'm gonna look over one more DraftKings. I think it's worth mentioning. I wish Fitness and Features was in here, because they're on this one. At 37.50 we were watching. But now this 35.42 is a big level of interest for me. It's that lower range thick line here. You can see trickle down, sell into that bounce again. I guess it was on earnings, but we can see that level there, that 35.42. So any opens over that, and again, sell down, and now wait, not a new lower low, reversal. So a breakout retest. That's one setup I'll be watching, guys, if you want some cheaper trades. The 35.50 call, the 36 call would probably pay very, very well as well. So a breakout retest of 35.42 is one name I'm watching this week. Again, things can change. Maybe we get this set up a week from now. Maybe we get tomorrow. Who knows? But that's one name I'm definitely watching. Or any sell under that, which we're already under it. And again, resistance, it's not really breaking out. We push up, but we keep getting sold down. We push up, sold down. That's a good spot to take some puts to, because you want to see price action like that on Friday. So a push up, zoom in just a little bit here. So again, a sell through support, and you take your puts, you expect to see price action like this again repeat itself. So any sell and any retest this level here, you're looking for price action like that. And you can use those topside wicks as your stop. So you take entry here, your stop out is somewhere in here, and your reward potentially is all this or even all this if we sell and leg down. So small risk, large reward. That's the name of the game for trading, you guys. Do I see any upside this week? I mean, I got money in the market. I got money in my Roth. I would love for it to go up, but also I'm treating this as a buying opportunity. This is nice because when we're up here just mid-February at 613 on SPY, it's like, well, nobody wants to buy the top, and so now we're down here at support. It's like, why do yeah, there's news going around, but why not nibble a little bit down here on this zone? It's like, you want to be bullish, but you don't want to be bullish up here. Well, okay, why don't you be bullish at some support? Again, we got tariff news on, what day is the second? That's probably a Wednesday. So Wednesday's probably a big day. So if I had to guess, again, crystal ball, hypothetical, let me get out of this chart layer real quick. I would think we trade somewhere at or around this 555 to 552 zone. Somewhere in here, I think we trade. Again, this is speculation. I would expect to see a little bit of range action into here. And then as markets wait on Wednesday, April 2nd, they wait on that Trump news. And if Trump's like, hey, whatever it is, they're like, hey, Canada's complying or Canada's doing this or this, I'm going to pull the tariffs off, we're going to fly. But if he's like, you know what, I'm still not getting one of these tariffs, like I said, I'm just throwing around some jargon here. He's like, I'm going to keep them on. We're very likely going to leg down under that 552 zone. Like that's going to be very bearish because that's going to cross into our 10% bear territory correction. So this 552 is held, I believe, all this year, that first time we came into it. So if that news on Wednesday is bad, you guys, and we start selling down, right? I'm not saying just this is your official alert for puts, but if the markets are very bearish, ride that momentum because it is bearish for a reason. It is bearish on news. And so just best you can ride the momentum of the market. When we sell down and you try and buy dips, it's got to make sense. Or we're pushing up and you're taking puts, it's got to make sense where you're taking puts. You can't just take puts because you think it's gone up too much. Like, does the data make sense why we're going up or why we're going down? But if he tacks those on or extends those tariffs on Wednesday, that's probably, and it probably will be, a very good sell down trigger for the market. So be ready for that, you guys. Have stop losses on. If we're trickling into here, news or no news, always have a stop on because, you enter calls here and Trump tweets something, an 18% loss is better than a 60% loss down here. So always have your stops on, you guys. I imagine there's going to be a lot of news coming this week. All right. SPX levels. Let me get a drink of water here. So that, give me 1 second here. What would be, do I have a 10% correction here? No, I don't. What would be 10% here? Damn, I can't see it. Hang with me here. Get your game plan here. So 10% is, well, let's call it, yeah, that 55.40. So basically where they bounced. Studio City. Yep, you're the one asking SPX. So 50, what did I say, 55.40? Yeah, so that's where we bounced down here. So this is our bear market correction territory. So any levels at or around that level there, that was where we bounced at recently. Any levels? Yeah, I don't trade, I don't chart on SPX a lot. I just use SPY, but we can go back for sure. So if we slice that 55.40, for sure, we can get some levels down here for you. And these are daily levels. So if you're trying to trade SPX, this is going to vary a lot because, if you're trading SPX and I slap a level here at like 5,500, like your target should not be all the way down here. But these are just levels based on the daily but since you request some, let's find some levels here for you. Oops. So wick rejection there, candle body close, candle body open, open there, open there, open there. So I like that level there, lines up really nice. Again, grabbing this wick here, candle bodies rejecting, closing there. I like that level there. So hopefully answer your question on SPX and how to play this. So any levels under my first, gut feeling is a trade into this level here. And so I think we already talked about that on SPY. We're already going to be at or around that level there. So definitely try and buy that call dip there for sure. Same thing, we're pushed up against that daily 200 on SPY. We trade at and around it. We finally sold and we triggered under it. So same thing here is, yeah, it could be ugly sell, 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 but this is a huge support down here, basically 55.40 on SPX. So definitely level to watch there. If I'm going to buy a call bounce, that's the spot to do it. If not, you can see these trigger levels down here. But again, those are based on the daily. So, if you take SPX puts here, like you need to have some intraday levels that are locked in before that. So I wouldn't be like taking puts here and go, okay, this is my target down here to sell. Like that would be final target. You should be trimming all the way down there. We all know SPX is a beast, so you better have a plan on that. But again, that bear market territory level is, I think, the focus this week. We get good news. I think we bounce hard off of that. Whether it lasts an hour, a day, a week, I don't know. We get bad news, we're probably going to sell under that again. But again, follow my market, follow the trade mods in the Discord, kind of see what they're saying, what their sentiment is, what they're alerting to get a gauge on the market. But I think that what is that, Wednesday? Like I said, that's going to be the key to the market, or at least for that day for sure. JJ, what do you recommend having your stop loss? Good question. The short answer is watch my recorded lecture video that I've done. Send me a DM if you want that and you actually will watch it. The long-winded answer is I don't do stop loss percents. Let me see if I can find an example here. We're kind of at the end of class, no more requests, so let's do it for you. Let's see here. Walmart. This may take a second, but hang with me and I'll show you why I don't like random percents. And we're just doing Walmart because Walmart is right here. See if I can do this quickly. Walmart bounced 85.3, so we would have taken hypothetically the 85 puts. All right. This may be difficult on the fly, but let's see if we can get this going here. All right, so Walmart. All right, so you guys see how my crosshairs are synced and linked up. So JJ, this is gonna be on the fly. I don't think it'll be super accurate, but here's why I don't like random percent stop losses. Damn it, what are you doing, computer? What day was that? That was just last week. Was that it? No, what day is this? March 28th. One more day. All right. Yep. All right. So top chart, JJ, is the option value chart of Walmart. So if we took the 85 put here at resistance, so we took resistance, for me, this is absolutely a perfect trade how it worked out. I would look left here. So if I'm shorting, all right, we sell through support. What do I talk about week after week? A breakdown, retest, you get your puts. Where do we sell? Where's our stop? We look at the previous sell through wicks and we look left and go, okay, draw your box here. I'm gonna delete this just so it doesn't get messy. So I have this box here, JJ. This is my stop out zone here. Okay. Anything over that is a stop out. Why is that? So we're taking puts at resistance. I'm not going to stop out here at this wick, or even this wick. Why? Because I'm looking at this price action here and saying, okay, if I push up to here, I want to see them break over this to stop me out. Okay. So we took our puts at 85.3. So now I'm looking at this options chart here at the top. I'm going to draw a line here. So that is the value hypothetically. We bought in for $1.08 right here. And you say, what should be an automatic stop? Let's just say, this isn't gonna work. I know how to explain this, but this is just because it's only like a 5% loss. So I know this isn't what you asked exactly, but the point is, so let's pretend this is a 10% stop out here. So if you're just saying, hey, I want a random 10% stop and your 10% triggers here, but we're still under this support level here, like that's why I don't like a random stop. Like to me, I look at the chart here and I say, okay, what was the price action or what was the value of this contract when it was here? So if we look here at roughly 7 o'clock my time, the value of that contract was somewhere around $97. So that is my stop. So if I buy in at $1.08 right here, my stop is somewhere $97 or a break over this level. And that's how I do it. That's how I trade every single time. And so this isn't a very good percent stop out on the fly. But my point is, you don't want to have a 10% stop when only hypothetically, 2 more percent, let's just say this is 12% up here, is like your resistance of where it rejected earlier. So does that make sense? You never want to stop out here when you can hold for literally 5 more cents on the stock chart to see if they reject here. And lo and behold, they rejected, they sold under, and then you get paid. Okay. So yeah, I got a recorded lecture on that, JJ. This wasn't a super good example on the fly. I'm sorry about that, but I have a recorded lecture that explains this really well if you want to go over that as well. But yeah, all right, let's do a recap, you guys. SPY and QQQ. That 552 is the focus. I think if I recap, that is that bear market territory level. So 552, I expect a battle here tomorrow morning, early in the day. I expect a battle back and forth. It's Monday, we could very well range, but any bounces over 552, I'm long on the day for calls. And I'm riding, I'm getting my EMA flip. And I'm getting breakout, retest on my EMAs hypothetically all day long. Any sells under that, I'm bearish, but bearish with caution because big bounces can happen. But, we can see a recent level into here could very well pay as well. Okay. QQQ. Same thing. If this after our session and pre-market holds, we can ride, we can catch a trade at the open, we can ride this up, but know where we close and know that we got resistance all the way up. And so for me, I really, if I want to be bullish on the day or on the week, I want to see, last week's lows, which was this, I want to see that reclaimed. If not, it's either a bounce and then a sell through the next day, we don't know, but I want to see a hold of this, for a possible trend reversal. But again, Wednesday could be the big day today, but any sells under this, we got to start looking for some more downside targets here. But ugly sell on Friday. So we'll see. We'll see we get pre-market, guys, but make a plan, you guys. Mark some levels that people are asking about levels. Take a screenshot here on QQQ if you want, because that's literally why we do this. We do this to help you guys each and every week. So with that, you guys, if there's no specific questions, I'm going to end the chat. I appreciate you all being here, all 20, 22 of you. Have a good week, you guys. I'll probably be a little bit quiet Monday, Tuesday. I got a big project, side project I'm working on. I was out of town all weekend, so I'm 3 days behind. So probably not a lot of activity for me until Wednesday, but DMs are always open, you guys. If you need some help, send me a DM. I will definitely get back to you guys as soon as I can. But with that, you guys, I'm in the chat. Have a great night, and I'll see you all this week.